హలో యూట్యూబ్, ఎలా ఉన్నారు ఈరోజు? ఐ హోప్ యూ డే ఇస్ గోయింగ్ వెల్. నేనైతే చాలా బాగున్నాను. సో నేను ఇప్పుడు ఈరోజు మీకు ఒక ఫామ్ని ఇంట్రొడ్యూస్ చేద్దామని వచ్చాను అనమాట. మాకు దగ్గరలో ఉన్న లోకల్ ఫామ్. చాలామంది అడుగుతున్నారు ఫార్మ్స్ గురించి, అంటే ఇక్కడ పంటలు ఎలా పండిస్తారు, రైతుల గురించి రైతులతో మాట్లాడించి ఇలా వీడియోస్ చేయమంటున్నారు కాబట్టి చేస్తున్నాను. దానికోసమే కాదు, నాకు కూడా చాలా ఇంట్రెస్ట్ అనమాట. నాకు కూడా ఇక్కడ ఫార్మింగ్ ఎలా చేస్తారో అని తెలుసుకోవాలని నాకు కూడా చాలా ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉంది. సో అందుకే ఈరోజు నేను మూన్బో ఫార్మ్స్ అని ఒక ఫామ్కి వచ్చాను. ఇక్కడ జేసన్ అని ఈ ఫామ్కి ఓనర్ అనమాట. తను ఈ ఫామ్ని 5 yearsగా మెయింటైన్ చేస్తున్నాడు. అండ్ తను వెజిటబుల్స్, రకరకాల వెజిటబుల్స్ పండిస్తాడనమాట. సో తనతో ఇంటరాక్ట్ అవుదాం. Hi Jason.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good.
Nice. So thanks for talking to me and thanks for interacting with me.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah. I have some questions. I have noted down some questions. So our audience will be knowing some interesting stuff about how the farms work in United States and yeah, stuff like that.
Okay.
So first one, I will just ask you to introduce why you started farming, like why you left your job, or what is your education, stuff like that.
Okay. Well, a little bit of my background.
Yeah.
My name's Jason Coleman. I'm the owner of Moonbow Farms, Full Moon Pizza. I went to the University of Kentucky. I got a degree in sustainable agriculture. I graduated from there. I did an apprenticeship first, and then I worked with them for a while. And once I left there, I moved from Kentucky to Texas, and I ran a small farm for a little while. That didn't really work the way I wanted, and so we started this farm 5 years ago.
Okay.
When I started the farm, I just quit my job and went. There was no guessing or anything. I wanted to do this farm. I had the land available, and so I just did it. There was a hard decision. Most people are kind of scared, and luckily it worked out, right?
Yeah.
But with that, I have a passion for farming, for community, and building community. That's really, our farm grows food, but it's really more about building community.
Right.
And so that's why I started the farm, for sustainability. You can go into all that, but I started to be a sustainable farm, build community, and then produce food also, food security, things like that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just curious, what job did you had before coming into farming?
So I farmed for since 2011, or even before that. I grew up on a family farm. My dad raised horses, actually. But he also did some row cropping when I was younger, and so I've always been around farming. I was in 4-H. I was the president of the 4-H. So I understand agriculture before I got into it, but you don't have to have that background. But it was just lucky for me, and I got away from it for a while. I'm kind of a jack of all trades, so I've done numerous jobs. I've been a Boilermaker. I sold magazines door to door. I've been a chef. That was probably the most. I did that the most, probably for about 20 years.
Okay. So you said this farm is available, right? What do you mean by available? Did you buy it when you left the job, or did you already had?
No, this is actually a family farm. It's been in my wife's family for a long time, and they weren't using this part of the property.
Okay.
And so it was available, so I went ahead and put it into cultivation. It was just a cow pasture. There was nothing here. It was just flat ground with a lot of weeds.
Right.
And over the last 5 years, we've cleaned it up, and now it's pretty beautiful. It's been a lot of hard work. Everything, we built everything from the ground up.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So what crops do you generally cultivate?
So we're a diversified vegetable farm, or a market garden is what we are. We grow numerous, different cultivars. So basically we grow all types of vegetables. We grow some specialty crops. I have some artichokes in, things that are called Malabar spinach. We have a cocona berry that's from Brazil, eggplants. We have a lot of different things like that. But then we also do your basic, broccoli, cauliflower, collards, carrots. We co-op with other farmers. We get sweet potatoes and things like that. So we have a lot of different vegetables available to us.
Okay. I know a little bit about natural farming or organic farming. Can you tell me more about it, and how you do it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, I call my farm a natural farm. I'm a little bit further than organic. We try not to use anything but natural inputs. I try not to use pesticides. I don't use herbicides at all. We try to plant crops and get what we can from it and try to coexist with nature. A lot of people think, oh, I can't have bugs on there, and it will reduce yields. It does do things like that, but I feel like you can get enough out of it and you can still share, So using no inputs, it's a little bit more labor. It's labor intensive because if you're not using herbicides, you've got to weed, and most of our stuff is hand weeding because the crops are delicate. They don't have deep roots, so you can't really go and hoe around them. You'll end up cutting their tap roots and things. So we use hand weeding. We use different methods of like a polycloth that we put down that's a weed barrier, and we'll burn holes and set transplants like that. But my method is really cut and dry. I do still cultivate. I use a tiller to till to make a seed bed, but it's a very shallow till, and we try to build our soil with wood chips and compost. Most of what we use is wood chips, and then we just add that in. We have a heavy clay soil, so those wood chips add air content and organic matter to that soil, and it loosens the soil. It doesn't clot up as bad. But it takes a long time to do it, and so we're still, even 5 years in, still trying to remediate and use those kind of things to build it. But that's kind of what natural farming is. It's trying to coexist with your environment instead of trying to fight it, and figuring out what the benefits of those things can be. So even like weeds, most people, they hate clover. There's a burr clover here that has like a little burr that gets stuck in your socks. It's annoying, but it comes up and it actually adds nitrogen to my soil every spring. So I let it grow up, and then we mow it through the spring, and then we'll till it in, and it adds nitrogen to my soil. So you can even pull it up and see the little knots on the roots from the rhizomes. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So usually in my opinion or in my understanding, I thought natural farming or organic farming is more like not using a ton of chemicals and having the produce without any pesticides or chemicals.
Right. So natural farming, if you're doing a natural farming system, generally it's more like what I'm doing. Okay. Organic farming, you can still use certain chemicals, but they have to be on a list that's USDA approved. Okay. So there's things called OMRI approved products, which are organic, and that means they're not as harsh to the environment. They have really short half-lives, things of that nature, where it doesn't damage the environment as much. But when you're spraying neonicotinoids, or if you're spraying neem oil, both of those things can have effects, and so there are organic systems that really are closer to conventional systems than they are a natural growing, because they're still using that conventional way, and we're trying to do it more of a natural way, more labor intensive, but so that's kind of the difference. It is one of these things where organic, they're not using harsh pesticides, but they still use a pesticide on certain things, and they're not necessarily harmful to humans, but there's certain things you can still spray that will affect bees if you spray them at the wrong time and things of that nature. So there are remedies like Jadam Organics. They have certain things. They make their own remedies and spray their plants, which is very famous. I think there's a lot of people that do his type of organics. And then there's a lot of people that just do the conventional organics. If you're going to grow, organic's good. If you can do it naturally and get along with your environment, it's better. It's less input, it's less cost. If we don't have to put as much money into the plants, we can make more money, and the farm is more profitable, right? And but it's also labor intensive, so you're spending money on labor. But I would rather have people working and doing that than spraying everything.
Yeah.
So so that's kind of the difference.
Yeah, it's actually good to know, because I don't know about this difference. I thought natural and organic are same, and I think even the audience won't know this difference. So
yeah. And that's the thing is, there's even a natural, or like a natural growers association, something like that you can join, that you can get certified as a natural grower, and you use certain remedies that and a lot of it is just looking at the soil food web and knowing how those things work, all your microbes and all your things in the soil, and making that a good home for those creatures, and those things will help keep weeds down, help your plants grow. And it's not so much you got to put a bunch of fertilizer on there. I've never put fertilizer on my fields, only compost. And you know, this used to be a conventional farm, so it was pretty depleted when I got here. It was used up, and so we're having to build topsoil. I'm basically, a lot of what we were started with was parent material. It's just clay, and so, you know, we had to keep adding stuff to it to get it more friable and more, you know, so.